Hi, welcome to Ask Less. Today we're going to deal with a question that should be asked more often than it is. And that is, if your blow-off force from your nozzle or air knife or whatever you compressed your item using for blow-off is too low, what do you do? If this is happening, if the force from your nozzle or air knife is not what you think it should be, the first thing you should be thinking of is pressure drop. Now, here's what people tend to do if the force is not adequate or not working to what is supposed to be specified from a particular blow-off application, whether it's a nozzle or air knife or amplifier. They'll look at either using more compressed air, bigger compressor, or just jacking up the pressure from the existing compressor. Here's what happens if you do that. You jack up the pressure, you push more air through the system, and theoretically this should raise the force coming out of your nozzle. But if it's a pressure drop issue, you're going to be trying to push more air through, you could actually end up losing more pressure. You may not actually have an increase in the force at all. In fact, it could actually go down. Second thing people do, say, okay, nozzle's not working, let's get a bigger nozzle. Well, if you put in a bigger nozzle, you're going to end up consuming more compressed air. If there's a pressure drop issue, you're going to actually end up with less force because you're going to try to push more air through that airline. You get more of a pressure drop, and you can actually end up with less flow and force coming out of your amplifier at the other end. And if it's an air knife that you're using, an air knife normally has a gap for the compressed air to come out. That gap is separated by a shim. So if it's not enough flow, put in another shim, right? Makes sense. Open the shim, more air flows out. But if you have a pressure drop issue, again, same situation as going for a larger nozzle. You're going to try to push more air through that airline, you're going to have more of a pressure drop, and you could actually end up having less flow coming out even though you've opened the gap. And then the person walks away scratching their head saying, what happened? We've opened the gap, we've made it bigger, why isn't it working? What you should be thinking, if you're not getting the adequate force and flow from a compressed air operated blow-off nozzle or air knife or amplifier, is you look at the pressure drop. That's what you should look at. Not one, no bigger compressor jacking up pressure, not going to a larger nozzle, not opening up the gap on an air knife. You look at the pressure drop in the system and what could be causing it. You could have a 10 meter long airline that's 8 millimeter trying to feed a nozzle. That's not going to work. Your size of your airline is going to create a pressure drop if it's too small. The longer it is, the larger the line should be. Look for restrictions in the airline. Look for possible leaks in the compressor delivery system. You have leaks, that's going to lower the pressure. But always think pressure drop. If you have any further questions regarding the use of compressed air for blow-off, cooling, drying, or moving, ask less.